And so we link hands with Decade's musical survey of the 1940s. If you were listening to the previous programme, you may have already heard the Stan Kenton Band and the Charlie Parker Quintet. Our 40s contributions this week are provided by Woody Herman, Albert Ammons, and just, depending upon how you count, by Rex Stewart and Duke Ellington. From other decades come Joe Sullivan, Wild Bill Davison, Ed Hall, Tony Williams, Sam Rivers, Ray Bryant, Chico Freeman, Clarence Williams, Don Rendell, and Ian Carr. We begin, you might say, as we mean to go on, with Woody Herman. Mr. D. Bailey wrote from Luxfield Road, Warminster, asking for Apple Honey for PC Gary Marsh at Warminster Police Station. We only hope the apprehending of felons doesn't interfere with your enjoyment of the music. Marvellous ending. Woody Herman's 1944 record of Apple Honey, with solos from Flip Phillips on tenor saxophone, Bill Harris trombone, Marjorie Hyams vibraphone, Woody Herman, and the incandescent Pete Candoli on trumpet. Well, having begun so assertively in the 1940s, we might as well remain there for two more very contrasting records. My own inclination is to say that 1940 itself was the final year of the 30s, but let us not split a hair when we have Rex Stewart and a contingent from the Ellington Orchestra on hand. This 1940 record of Mobile Bay was requested by Douglas Thomas of Nottingham, but I'm going to couple it with two more letters, one from Colin Russell of St James Road, Emsworth, because he wrote in glowing terms about Rex Stewart generally, and the other from Jenny Allen in Henfield in Sussex, who wants something played for that fine bass player Ron Mathewson, who's injured his arm and is unable to work at the moment. Well, this might do, since the contribution on bass by Jimmy Blanton is tangible but unobtrusive all the way through. Albert Ammons, thundering away in 1944, The Boogie Rocks. Does indeed. And that completes our look at the 40s for this week. Not a systematic survey, but a purely fortuitous, and I didn't intend that, a fortuitous meeting of requests. It was for Julian Lambert in Walthamstow, and may I suppose that Caractacus Flywheel, nay pianist Brian Leake, and precious Clarence Turner, alias Jim Hopes, will have got some satisfaction from that too. With music from a later and very different sort of era coming up soon, it seemed that the ideal man for helping us make the transition was pianist Ray Bryant. For a record by him, it was the flip of a coin between Derek Hughes of Great Crossroad, Kirkcudbright in Scotland, whose wife Jean has a birthday tomorrow, and Roger Vale of Shortlands in Kent. Now, whatever power controls the fall of coins, decided it should be Mr. Vale's choice of a piece called Joy, which is really a compendium of various reach-me-down melodic figures. experiment with a familiar sounding item which we in the studio decided to rechristen This Train Running Wild, but which comes out on that record as Joy. Well, on the next record, Joy is displaced by what I think I would describe as a melancholy, expressed in the later stages of the piece with almost a vehemence. For Paul Auerbach, whose letter is now without its envelope and bears no address, we play a record by Chico Freeman, of whom Paul has heard great praise, but whose playing he's not yet encountered. From the album The Outside Within, we hear a track on which Chico Freeman plays both bass clarinet and tenor saxophone. The fine arco bass playing is by Cecil McBee, John Hicks is at the piano, Jack DeJohnette at the drums. It's called The Search. I thought that was tremendous. Chico Freeman on tenor saxophone and bass clarinet with John Hicks, Cecil McBee, Jack DeJohnette, The Search. And having moved into an idiom very close to our own day, we'll listen now to a slightly different aspect of it from the late 1970s, a composition called Tomorrow Afternoon by drummer Tony Williams, and coming from the Tony Williams album which bore the name of Lifetime. It's been suggested by Barbara Downs from Holborn. Pat Rees of Merrowcroft, Guildford, is likely to get much satisfaction from this also. On tenor is Sam Rivers, and on bass, Gary Peacock. Tomorrow Afternoon. From Tony Williams' Lifetime album, Tomorrow Afternoon. Tony Williams at the drums, Sam Rivers on tenor saxophone, Gary Peacock on bass. Well, some listeners have quite a task making the transition between one form of jazz and another. Sam Rivers himself was talking of his own past in blues music on a television programme the other night, and one evening when I met him a year or so ago, he was enormously enjoying the music of a very traditional band in a London club. Not quite as ancient, I grant you, as on the next record, by the Clarence Williams Washboard Band. And it's the choice of Pete Stevens of Loughborough. Indeed, I get the impression that Mr. Stevens regrets the encroachment of serious intent into, and I quote, a music meant to cheer us up. Well, as impartial presenter, I must not be drawn. But because the band includes Cecil Scott on clarinet, I am going to draw John and Beryl of Springfield into this, and their friends Tony and Jan and Cyril and Gladys. Random selection and pressure of other requests have kept them uncatered for till now. Perhaps they'll all enjoy Crazy Blues.
No time to lose. Will you find that gal today? The doctor gonna do all that he can, but what she gonna need is the undertaker man. My love, she refused and left me with crazy blues.
Sudden end, therefore, Clarence Williams Washboard Band in the early 1930s with Crazy Blues. Ed Allen on cornet, Clarence Williams vocal, Cecil Scott clarinet. Now, poorer recorded quality, I think, but a considerably later date, 1950. In fact, there seems to be some uncertainty as to where this was actually recorded. It's for Jerry Coleman, who sent a card postmarked Stevenage. It's Joe Sullivan and the All-Stars with Memphis Blues. Memphis Blues, recorded sometime about 1950 by a band which finally reached the record label as Joe Sullivan and the All-Stars. Joe at the piano, Wild Bill Davison, cornet, Vic Dickinson, trombone, Ed Hall, clarinet, George Wetling at the drums. Played, as I said, for Jerry Coleman, who sent us a card postmarked Stevenage. Now, the precise whereabouts of a listener are relatively unimportant, but the correct identification of any request is a different matter. Some time ago, I met Des Behrman of Marlborough Road, Falmouth, at some jazz event or other, and I've been carrying around in my pocket ever since a piece of paper bearing the name of an album by Don Rendell and Ian Carr. Now, if you're listening, Des, I'm beginning to think that the title we agreed upon, whenever and wherever it was, should have been Shades of Blue, and that one I have here now. Don Rendell, Ian Carr, Colin Purbrook, Dave Green, Trevor Tompkins play Colin Purbrook's Blue Mosque. A tranquil close to the programme. Don Rendell on soprano saxophone, Ian Carr trumpet, Colin Purbrook at the piano. He also wrote Blue Mosque. Dave Green on bass, Trevor Tompkins at the drums. And that dates back to 1965. Well, provided it actually fits the physical confines of the programme, we play music from any date you choose. Jazz Record Requests, BBC Broadcasting House, London, W1A 4WW. We'd enjoy hearing from you, and we hope you'll join us again next Saturday at 5. Goodbye.
Your jazz record requests were introduced by Peter Clayton. Now we come to our Saturday Arts Review Critics Forum, with the literary editor of the Financial Times, Anthony Curtis, in the chair.
Good evening. With me this week are the novelist and literary critic A.S. Byatt, the poet and art critic Edward Lucy Smith, and, appearing on this programme for the first time, the film critic and screenwriter Gilbert Adair. And over the next 50 minutes we're going to be discussing the TV series Time with Betjeman, Sidney Lumet's film The Verdict, the Cimabue Crucifix at the Royal Academy, the play Lent by Michael Wilcox, and D.M. Thomas's novel Ararat. First, broadcasting. The producer of Time with Betjeman is Jonathan Steddall, and the form is similar to his earlier BBC Two series with Malcolm Muggeridge. Passages from John Betjeman's television films and interviews are shown, and some of them he discusses with their makers in a cutting room. He revisits his old haunts in London and elsewhere, and he's visited by friends and relatives, among them John Osborne and Barry Humphries. In last Sunday's programme, the third of 7, Betjeman and Steddall met John and Myfanwy Piper in Harefield Church, and there were extracts from various films about churches as well as the 1968 documentary on Tennyson. It concluded with a surprise visit to Betjeman's Chelsea home.
this fast life is killing me. This fast life will be here when I am dead and gone. I'ma stop my drinking, stop my running round. I'ma stop my drinking, stop my running round. I believe I'll get married, I believe I'll get married and settle down. I got a letter from home, all my friends is dead and gone. Got a letter from home, all my friends is dead and gone. And you know by that I ain't gonna be alone. Give me one more chance to prove to you I'm right. Give me one more chance to prove to you I'm right. I love you, darling, and I'll be home with you every night. Say bye-bye, baby, if you call that gone. Bye-bye, baby, not if you call that gone. You know I'm gonna miss you every hour that you're gone.
This, for instance, is the way George Shearing chooses to interpret that excessively light-hearted piece of Tin Pan Alley optimism, Happy Days Are Here Again. were finding harmonic possibilities that I did.